We wish you a Merry Christmas. Will you sing it with me?
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. HFC kids, I am coming to you today for the last time for the year 2020, which is insane. We've been doing this since March 18th, 19th, whatever that first Sunday was. Good grief, it's been so long. So many HFC kids videos this year, and they've been wonderful, and it's been such a joy to do this with you. We'll be coming back in January making some more, but for now we are celebrating Christmas. As you can see, we're very festive here at HFC. We are so excited. I've got my fuzzy red sweater, and we are ready to dive into Matthew chapter 1 and Luke chapter 2, the two gospels that give our most detailed Christmas narratives as we talk about when Jesus came, when he was born. Last week we talked a little bit more about the big picture, about who this baby was and what he meant for the whole world. But today we're just going to focus on the actual event of him being born and how crazy it was that this amazing king came to earth. Also with some visuals so that you can see what this little village looked like, a little bit different telling of the Christmas story. A long time ago, in a town named Bethlehem, there was a young boy, a shepherd, named David. David loved God and wanted to follow him. From the time he was young, God trained him and he grew up to be the king. But eventually, David died. God said that later on, one of David's descendants would be born to be the greatest king, right here in Bethlehem. Others knew too. They heard from God, and they said, a ruler will come from Bethlehem. But it got quiet, and nothing happened. After hundreds of years of silence, there was a young woman, a daughter in Nazareth, named Mary. Mary loved God and wanted to follow him. At an early age, God sent an angel to speak to her. He said Mary would have a baby. Even though it didn't make sense for her to have a baby yet, this would be a special baby given by God to grow up to be the greatest king. This would be God's son. Mary listened to God. She was supposed to marry a man named Joseph, and he listened to God too. A special order from the governor told the people that they all had to return to their hometowns. God promised the great king would be a descendant of David, so Mary and Joseph traveled to David's hometown, Bethlehem. The town of Bethlehem didn't realize their time of waiting and silence was coming to an end. Joseph and his pregnant wife Mary couldn't find a place to stay in the small town of Bethlehem, so they went to a simple, dirty stable for animals. It wasn't the nicest place to have a baby, but God knew this baby would be great no matter where he was born. There, on the first ever Christmas night, Bethlehem's hundreds of years of silence came to an end with the cry of a baby boy. They named him Emmanuel, which is a special name that means God with us. This baby we call Jesus was a God in a small human body. He would grow up to be the most important man and king to ever live. Though most people didn't notice the birth of such a normal-looking baby in such a strange place, the angels of God didn't want Jesus' birth to go uncelebrated. They appeared to some shepherds, much like David, the shepherd boy, would have been in the city of Bethlehem. They sang to them and told them to go to a stable and see baby Jesus. They were so excited to see this baby. They were the first people to come see the one who would later save the whole world from darkness and sin, just like God had promised hundreds of years ago. It might not have seemed like a perfect picture then, but now we celebrate Christmas as this special birthday of the most important baby. We thank God for David, for Mary, and for Joseph, who all loved God and wanted to follow him. We thank God for Jesus, who came to earth as a baby on an ordinary night so he could grow up to be the Savior of the world. Kids, that is an amazing story. The older I get, every year I look back on that story and I notice something new, or I appreciate something new. That God is teaching me that when it didn't make sense for Mary to have a baby, she had one. It was a miracle of God. God only had one son, Jesus. Joseph was extremely faithful to God. If he would have done things man's way, he would have quit and he would have left Mary alone. But because he loved God and wanted to follow him, he stayed with Mary and became Jesus' earthly father, which was a pretty big deal. The shepherds were in the middle of a very important job, and the shepherds probably weren't very old. Who knows? Maybe they were even like college age or high school age. Maybe they were really old. Who knows? But they were out in the fields and they left their sheep. They left their posts because they were so excited to drop everything to go worship God. Mary was probably terrified to hear God's news. But even though it was something unknown, God took care of her and she trusted in him. And she got the most amazing deal. She had the most amazing firstborn son that anyone on earth ever has. So we see time and time again that not only was Jesus the greatest king born in a situation that didn't make any sense, God used that struggle, that dirty stable, everything that didn't make sense in our world for his glory. Jesus was born God's way, not man's way. Even from the beginning, he showed that God had set this baby apart to be something amazing. Thanks for tuning in this week to learn a little bit more about why we celebrate Christmas. I hope that these next few days you're able to celebrate with your family. Remember the hope from the darkness that God has given us through his son, Jesus. I hope that you guys have a wonderful season, that you stay safe, you sing lots of songs, you open good presents, and you remember what God did for us. Merry Christmas, HFC kids, and Happy New Year. We will see you in a few weeks in the year 2021. Bye.